Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And just a few months ago, FormaL retired from professional Call of Duty in a shock to the entire community. Since then though, he's moved to Halo, had some great success over there, Sentinels, team hops around a little bit, gets onto the OpTic Halo team. Last night that move paid off in spades with a phenomenal Grand Finals performance, and it gets the gas he deserved on the timeline. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. Really up to the channel, thank you very much indeed for doing that. First of all, just wanted to mention this real quick, because yes, we're in the mid-season break right now for the CDL. There are these roster trials going on right now, the Rokkr one, the new Subliners one. Definitely will do my best to keep you guys updated on that over the coming days, but generally on this channel, we talk about the personalities involved in the competitive Call of Duty scene. FormaL certainly one of them for many years. Now he's having great success in Halo. We've got to talk about it, because it was certainly the big story of last night. So, FaZe did a $75,000 Halo Invitational. The Halo scene confuses me to some degree, because they've got the major tournament circuit that goes on, which seems to be way more spread out than even the CDL circuit is. But then you have these other tournaments that crop up. There's a lot of online stuff going on. I see FormaL all the time streaming his scrims, and they were kind of asking him on the OpTic podcast a few days ago, like, how's it going? How's the team looking? Because they made that pretty big change to get rid of Priestahh and bring FormaL into the team after, FormaL, when he was on the Sentinels squad and subbed in for them, took them down at the start of this season, or maybe the end of last year, whenever it was that event that went on. Now, of course, last night there was this event, the Halo Invitational, $75,000 on the line. FormaL and Co, of course, were competing in it. FormaL joining the OpTic team, looking to take them back to a championship glory ride. It's kind of incredible, like a FormaL's career from Halo into Call of Duty being, if you look at the best assault rifles of all time, FormaL's probably number one on that list for most people in the Call of Duty world, of course, winning the World Championship on OpTic, and then at the end of last season, it really felt like the OpTic Chicago team probably didn't have too much of a future. FormaL said that he wasn't really, he didn't have the drive to compete in Call of Duty. It kind of went past him, and that the team effectively decided to get rid of him anyway, because looking back at that OpTic Chicago team, like, Dashi is so clearly, in my opinion, a better placed player when he's in the main assault rifle role, and there was even people like Crimsix came out and said that often Dashi and FormaL would kind of clash in terms of what they were doing on the map, and Dashi was taking kills away from FormaL, and therefore FormaL was struggling a bit statistically, despite bringing an awful lot to the team in terms of their communication and stuff like this. So we just decided, okay, look, the team doesn't really want me anymore. They want to go down in the direction of having Dashi as the main ER, which I think makes perfect sense, right? Like, this season, if FormaL was still going to be competing in Call of Duty, like, it wouldn't be on the OpTic team, right? He'd have to go to another team, which, of course, he doesn't want to do. So his goal, I'm sure, was to try and get onto the OpTic Halo team somewhere or another, still had that competitive drive. It happens kind of the midway through February, when they decided to get rid of Priestahh, bring FormaL into the starting team, after he had great success when he managed to team hop his way up once again, which he did back in the day when he was first getting into Call of Duty, managed to, join one team after good success, play really well, join another team, and are still continuing that trend seemingly into the present day. So they played the $75,000 FaZe Invitational, and that's the thing, right? FormaL has said very clearly, like, he wants to bring another championship for the Green Wall. Not just the Call of Duty ones that he's had, but also, of course, getting one overline in Halo. But so far this game, of course, it's been the Cloud9 guys in Halo Infinite that have just pretty much dominated everything. Pretty much the team that won the 2018 Halo World Championship when Shotzi was on that team, but he's, of course, since left to Call of Duty, won a World Championship over here as well. But since they've got Penguin right in that Cloud9 team, and they've been pretty much dominating everything since the start of this game. OpTic really the only team to battle too well with them at times, and they actually take them down 3-0 in the winners finals to get to that point. So honestly, OpTic was so dominant this tournament, like, there was some talk about the ping and stuff like this, but get a 3-0 against Cloud9 in the winners finals to set up a grand finals match. They did not lose a map the entire tournament until all the way to the grand finals. They lost one against Cloud9 in the grand finals. Like, their map count record was just ridiculous, and I think Lucid probably was the MVP of the entire tournament. Like, he had some crazy moments like this, and FormaL was kind of just doing his thing. When we got to the grand finals, that's when FormaL came to play, and that's generally the thing with FormaL, right? Put him in a pressure situation, that's generally when you get the best out of him. OpTic take down Cloud9 with a 3-0 sweep to go to the grand finals. FormaL seemingly has helped turn this team around, and this was the road to the grand finals for OpTic Halo. They 3-0'd Incognito, they took down Sentinels 3-0 as well, XZ, KCP, that of course I guess Kansas City Pioneers, and then Cloud9 as well, 3-0'd them, the reigning champions, the best team in the game. 15-0 map count overall to go to the grand finals. They got to the grand finals, they went up 3-0. This was a best of 7 format, quite interesting the way they do this, and the team from the winners bracket, which of course being OpTic, they played Cloud9 again, as you might well expect, was granted a 1-0 advantage. So OpTic were 1-0 up going into the best of 7. You do have to wonder whether the CDL could take some notes here, right, and make some sort of sensible choices, when of course it's the best of 9 in the grand finals of the CDL majors. You might want to give them a 1-0 advantage, as was the case back in the Modern Warfare World Championship. For some reason they don't do that anymore, because apparently it's too complicated or something. Of course, like, it did help out Los Angeles Guerrillas coming from the losers bracket to win the most recent major, which of course was a great storyline, but really there should be some advantage for the team from winners, as Halo gives OpTic. They had a 1-0 advantage, they won the first 2 maps. They had a 3-0 advantage, one map away from winning the championship without losing a single map. They do lose the next map though, but you know, there was some phenomenal moments from FormaL, and it was the final map actually, or just some of these games where FormaL was absolutely turned. Like, this guy was out of control. He I think in one map he went 35 in 14. We'll look at the stats actually here in a second. But yeah, I mean, FormaL was live streaming this actually. So like I saw it at a time he had what, 20,000 plus viewers just watching his POV streaming this tournament. Like you know, just absolutely world class stuff. Great to see him back in competitive form, because this guy's such a fun player to watch in any game he plays. Honestly, one of the most talented FPS players, at least console controller FPS players in history. There is no doubt about it. If not number one, right, given what he's done across multiple different titles and still continues to do to this day with the current OpTic team. This you know, people were tweeting this out, right? You know, FormaL, he's absolutely back in business, and this is one of the games. 35 in 14 from FormaL. I think from a lot of people's perspective, pretty much undoubtedly the grand finals MVP, taking down Cloud9 3-1 or 4-1 at the end, I guess it was, and he was certainly getting the gas he deserved. Actually, FPS diff trust at FormaL, like you know, things from Scump as well, and even as shots he says, like he very well knows how to play a good game of Halo. That was some good Halo, guys. Congrats. So he's congratulating the OpTic guys, and understandably so. Dashy's even in the background here, comes over to kind of you know, celebrate with FormaL after they win this oddball game, and yeah, take it. So champions of the $75,000 FaZe Invitational. Of course, look, it's not a major HCS event. Those are coming up very soon though. Of course, great practice for the event that's coming just around the corner. We'll look at the schedule here in a second. But so yeah, FormaL was getting congratulated by Dashy in the venue. Shotzi was happy about it. Just crazy how good this guy is, to be honest, after retiring from COD, and seemingly like he might be done with his competitive career. Now, you know, once again taking a team like OpTic back to championships like this. Of course, you know, online championships, it doesn't mean all that much, but as he says, you know, good practice going into the Kansas City event coming very soon. They're a great team, of course. Cloud9 were the best. Are they still the best? They probably are still the favorites for the event coming up. But yeah, definitely create some great storylines going into that one. Scump says so too, but a FormaL, wish this word would go away, but apparently it's going to stay for a little bit longer. These are the overall KDs from the FaZe Invitational. FormaL had a 1.16, but in the grand finals, I think he was honestly another beast. This is the kind of the roadmap for the season. It does surprise me a bit reading this, because I never really know what's going on in the Halo world, and also because it doesn't really seem like there's all that much that happens, right? So the Major 2 in Kansas City is coming up soon. That's the event they're talking about here at the end of April to the start of May, and that's of course what OpTic are preparing for, have been preparing for, and will look like potentially the strongest team going into, based on the performance they had yesterday in that online kind of invitational tournament. But outside of that one, like you know, what else is really going on? Halo does a great job of things like, okay, actually having these invitationals like they had last night. Like the CDL wouldn't allow. Of course, I'm like, there's plenty of more CDL stuff going on, the online league, this type of stuff, than maybe there is in the Halo front, and there are plenty of online tournaments that happen here, but they don't quite seem to have the same caliber and importance as the CDL stuff. But the CDL wouldn't really allow an organization to host their own tournament with their game with all the proper pro teams, because we saw pre-season in the CDL didn't really allow them to do that. So there's some positives, there's some negatives. There's a surprisingly few amount of tournaments, at least in my opinion, because there's majors, there's regionals and stuff, so there's some decent tournaments happening. But like you know, but from May to July, there's basically nothing that happens. So kind of difficult to keep up with, but definitely going to be having a look at what FormaL's up to, right? Because after the whole storyline that went down with him retiring, going to Halo, then getting onto the OpTic Halo team, like you know, the conclusion to the story arc may be coming very soon indeed. He wants to bring home another championship. Kansas City is their chance to do that one. Like honestly, OpTic and Cloud9 right now seem like other beasts compared to the other Halo teams. Now, speaking of Halo stuff, thought this is kind of interesting from Clayster. Pro players, please respond. John says, of course, right now on the Paris Legion, former world champion back in 2016 on Envy, says he doesn't look at his teammate's screen on LAN, and that anyone who does do that is an absolute moron. So this is kind of interesting, to be honest, because this is not necessarily something you need to do in Call of Duty, and the pros seem to be somewhat split opinion on this. This seems to be kind of a Halo thing, where, you know, as Kenny says, I've only seen Halo players do it, because in Halo you don't have a minimap, right? So when you're dead, and let's say you've got your teammates next to you on LAN, it makes sense for you to look over at their screen, see what they see like, you know, where the enemies are they see, and kind of look at their perspective, gather that with your other teammates you see on maybe your left-hand side, and then kind of build up a picture of where the enemies are on the map, where they're spawning, this type of stuff, because you're going to get more information or better information looking at your enemies or looking at your teammate's screen than you are from actually hearing what they call out. If they have, you know, maybe worse communication than the average. Even as X says right here, I used to sit next to the people who had the worst comms so I could see what was going on, right? So like even in Call of Duty, it can maybe be viable. Like you look at their screen and yeah, if you're dead in search and destroy, thing is, if you're dead in search and destroy, you can go to their POV, right? But I can see a world in which in the respawns, let's say there's a 2.5 second hardpoint respawn delay or something, like for those 2.5 seconds, you look at your teammate's screen, what do they see, what are they doing? Like you know, maybe they're in a gunfight or something and they can't call out, I don't know, maybe it's a valuable thing. But John says that you shouldn't do this. Clayster says he does this all the time. Like you know, I'm pretty sure even Josh said in reply, like you've got to 100% do this. If you don't do this, that's a droppable offense. Apparently this is a thing on LAN that can separate some players from others. Now you know, as Clay says, in slower COD CODs I did it a lot, faster ones not so much. So Ghost, Modern Warfare, Domination, he's constantly looking at his teammates' screens on LAN to get this information, but in Search and Destroy I've looked at my teammates' screen a lot, right? So kind of interesting, right? I guess the other example is, or the other kind of argument is, as Zero says, I actually never did this at all. Feeling that someone's staring at you is like one of the worst feelings. So kind of interesting, yes. Like if you're sitting there playing, you're in a 1v1 clutch or something in Search and Destroy, I don't know, and Clayster's looking over your shoulder, is that adding pressure? Like probably realistically it shouldn't be adding too much pressure given the fact that you're playing on LAN in front of a crowd, whatever, right? You're playing a 1v1 against whoever it is on the other team. Clayster looking over your shoulder from his monitor rather than looking at his own monitor is probably not making too much difference. But maybe it's wise not to do anything at all that could possibly throw off your teammate. I don't know, like obviously something that's not going to affect us, I imagine, all that much unless you guys are playing on LAN or the regular. But I thought it was quite interesting how some of the kind of old school Halo guys definitely do this an awful lot, whereas in Call of Duty it only tends to be a thing in some of the slower games, and some of the players do not do it at all. And just to finish up with this as well from the Call of Duty League, whenever they're tweeting stuff like this, you know that the mid-season break is probably a little bit too long. At the first person that comes to mind when you hear the word rogue, to me it's always got to be Crimsix. When he's going rogue with one of these tweet storms he does from time to time, I'll definitely be taking note. But very much enjoyed your thoughts and all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit on the like button, tell us the YouTube gods this is a good video, others like you should see it as well, and help grow the competitive Call of Duty and Halo communities. Thank you for watching as always, take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.
That's right, Alec, you little bitch. That's right. FaZe down, mother.
Clown, dude, I swear to God.
FaZe down. Hey, yo, hey, that, I can smell the urine on your breath. You lick your dog's wiener. Yo, 10 out of 10.
That's a good one, right?
10 out of 10, bro. Yo, can I steal that? That's some, bro, that's some, who told you, who said that? You definitely stole that from somebody. A comedian said that or something. That was too good.
I'm flooding now.
Camo down on me. Right corner, right corner. Nice.
Oh
Watch your
no! I get Stacko! Stacko!
I got two. I
Nice.
kinetic,
Got
I
me. He
kinetic.
free-fired me. We're going tap. Nice, good job, dude.
I'm coming, Sam. One more,
Back
got
door,
him.
back door.
One more.
job.
Oh my god. Oh my god! What?
In the back.
Sam.
Sam.
I got him.
Probably more.
Front. Oh.
Two front, one more.
Full
One more.
streaks.
Come on.
Nice, that's
That was so dumb.
yeah, I'm going